Here is a belt squat marching alternative if you don't have access to definitely a belt or maybe other traditional strength equipment like a cable machine, a pulley system, something like that. This is a super light bar. It's a training bar. It weighs 15 pounds. So I put these plates on the end. We're gonna be pulling this direction into the rig, so it's not gonna hop out of the front. So when you're considering setup, that would be an important consideration. I do not think, I think that a 45-pound bar alone would definitely behave better than this 15-pound bar would alone, but I don't think it hurts to have the weight. So in a traditional belt squat, the load can either be coming like from straight down or ahead of you, kind of just depends on the setup that you're running. But what I did find was that typically if somebody didn't have access to a machine, I would have them use their lifting belt. They could wrap a band through it and then hook around their feet as anchors and then go to town on whatever variation we wanted to do. So, and I typically would program a heavier band. I do think that because you're back away from the tension, so it's loading diagonal, not horizontal or vertical, but a combination of the two, that less band tension makes sense. You might need to play around with that. I actually think this variation would be really effective with a weight vest. But the feet go in just like stirrups at the arch of your foot, and you can see like that just spun, but it's not going anywhere. It actually spun towards the rig and we're secured here. And to do this single leg and have control, you need to have enough band tension so that even when you go into your deepest range of hip flexion here, that knee up toe up position, that you still have tension on the band. If balance is an issue, something like this would definitely work. In fact, if you're training for single leg and maybe even coming back from an injury, this could be a good setup. But narrow stance, I traditionally like a slightly wide stance so that we're spending a lot of time on that single leg and sort of exaggerating the lateral side to side with not a lot of knee flexion, not a lot of hip flexion. It's sort of splitting the difference between the two, and the tissue that we're targeting is all lateral stuff. You might get a little high hamstring, some other things, but we are trying to be more intentional about lateral. You can play around with the distance your feet leave the ground. So for instance, you could do even shorter or smaller little steps here. Again, playing around with kettlebells loaded in the front, holding kettlebells, weight vest, plus all of that stuff. Throw a safety squat bar around your back. There's all different kinds of variations, but for the purpose of this video, here is a setup. A bar went in 2 J hooks. Here's the rack. A band is wrapped around. Here's the middle. I set it across. It just goes around. It's locked into place. No carabiners, no anything like that. This band is a loop, and you put your feet inside.